On May 20th, 2022, 18-year-old me is walking across the stage to graduate high school. But little does he know, just exactly 12 days prior, he made a purchase that would completely change everything.
1, 2, 3, go!
Triciano goes to the switchback here, hammer into the middle of the road.
I do think now for Joey Lotriciano.
Pole Sim Racing, it's Joey Lotriciano that's taken over.
Slide out, Joey hits us, gets past, and we manage to catch.
Before we get to when I bought iRacing, we need to rewind and see what made me delusional enough to spend my entire net worth at the time just to race fake cars. 1 year before I got iRacing, I had just quit an 11-year run of playing ice hockey, so to keep my monkey brain occupied with something I can spend all of my free time doing, I needed to find a new hyperfixation. It's honestly lost knowledge of exactly how I got interested in racing. All I remember is I stumbled across IMSA and watched a lot of highlights, and then one day a Jimmy Broadbent video popped up. This was the moment I first ever laid my eyes on the world of sim racing.
Here we go, we're moving now.
Over the rest of the year, I became a pretty avid viewer of this, and I started to watch sim racing content more than real life racing. Eventually, the sim racing hyperfixation took over, and I bought Assetto Corsa for $25 on Steam. With nothing but a controller, I drove the Nürburgring over and over and over again. Watching Jimmy's content made me motivated to be as fast as he was, and most of his content was at the Nürburgring, so every single day after school, as long as I wasn't working my job at Taco Bell, I was driving the Nürburgring. Fast forward to Christmas of 2021. At this point, my lovely girlfriend had caught on to my newly found racing addiction, and bought me what is quite possibly the most influential gift I've ever been given. A G920. Little did she know what this wheel would mean to me, because now I was able to actually drive. On controller, I did learn a lot of really important racing fundamentals like racing lines, braking zones, basically all of the easy stuff. But I was never confident enough to actually send it into races because on a controller it's not really possible to drive in a straight line, especially when you have stick drift. But now, we were so in. I plugged in the wheel the moment she gifted it to me, and I sucked. This racing stuff was harder than I thought, but over the course of the rest of my senior year in high school, I drove Assetto any moment I had. Early 2022, I saw Jimmy was live for the iRacing 24 Hours of Daytona. I've seen this sim before, but never thought anything of it. But watching him drive this race made me so interested in how bare bones iRacing looked. I still genuinely don't understand my appeal towards iRacing at the time because the graphics were clearly worse, and it definitely looked more bare bones than other sims, but for some reason, this made me think it was superior. Yeah, I don't know, but I still feel this way to this day. Anyway, after seeing that stream, I researched what iRacing was beyond the surface. I found multiple people saying it was by far the most realistic simulator, and that honestly was enough for me to get it. So I looked it up on their website, and oh shit. The time has finally come. I've put in enough shifts at Taco Bell to be able to afford iRacing. So on May 8th, 2022, I went ahead and bought iRacing for the first time ever. I spent that entire night downloading the sim, so I didn't really have any time to drive. The next day at school, I was probably just sitting in class, anxiously waiting to go home, itching to drive the sim, and sure enough, that next night, May 9th at 9:47 p.m., Joey Lotriciano made his first ever public appearance on the service. And it was in street stocks at Limaland. That night after school, I ran a total of 4 races, all in different series, and they were all 30 minutes apart. I deeply miss the early days where I could just mindlessly hop into the sim and drive without having to practice for 8 hours just to be on pace. Anyone watching that is just getting into sim racing, enjoy the era you're driving in, because you will always look back at it and wish you were there to experience it all again. Trust me. Anyway, throughout the rest of the month of May, I drove a total of 76 races. 3 of those races literally being on the same day I was graduating high school. Yeah, this dude right here was literally grinding safety rating 3 hours before receiving his diploma. Now that's dedication. May 26th, I drove my first ever Porsche Cup race, and it was at the Hungaroring. This was the start of something which at the time I had no idea was coming. Throughout all of this time of what is by far my most progressive state of learning how to drive, I was doing it all alone. Anytime I hopped on iRacing, I wasn't in a Discord call, I wasn't talking to anybody, I was just driving. At the time, this is where I enjoyed being. I know this is going to sound deep, and I know this basically is just a video game I'm talking about here, but iRacing, which is a simulator made to mimic reality, started to become my escape from reality. It was the place I went to disconnect and feel the satisfaction of self-improvement, which at the time I was feeling the most improvement I've ever felt in anything. So the year continued on, and so did my driving. Still driving a bunch of different series, not really finding one of them more fun than the other. I was just driving anything I laid my eyes on. Through all of 2022, I wasn't improving much on paper, but since moving over to iRacing, my biggest improvement was definitely my racecraft. This entire year, I legit didn't even know what iRating was, so safety rating was what I was basing my skill off of. That kind of forced me to learn how to race clean. On New Year's Eve, I drove my last race of the year, F3 at Okayama, ending the year at 1400 iRating and a B-class license. Next year was the year I discovered IMSA and GT3, and eventually I gained enough iRating to also discover what top split was. I thought I was becoming a good driver, but I got humbled really quick. As the rest of the year went on and I drove in more and more top split sessions, I began to realize my trusty old G920 could start to become a problem in my improvement. So after exactly 2 years, Christmas of 2023, I decided to spoil myself and get an upgrade. This is still the same rig I use to this day with just a couple small tweaks. Also, don't worry, I didn't throw away or sell the G920, it's just stored in a safe place in my closet. With the new upgrades, I started seeing improvement, and lots of it. Going into early 2024, I gained 500 iRating in just a couple of months, which on paper was my best improvement yet. With load cell brakes, I could now understand what trail braking was and what it should actually feel like. With the G920, I was still using the clutch pedal as a brake, so with no resistance, I was manually trail braking through every corner. Also, now that I had a direct drive, I could actually feel the road, and I quickly realized the entire time I've been driving, I was destroying my front tires and scrubbing into every single corner. With all of these improvements, March of 2024 rolls around, and oh boy, this is where literally everything changes. For the entire first part of 2024, I've been getting this random guy's TikToks on my For You page of him driving the pickup on iRacing. Basically, once a day, one of his videos would pop up, and for a couple of months, I kind of just watched the first couple seconds and then skipped the video. But eventually, he started showing up on my For You page often enough to where it became a normal part of my day to check in on his progress. Then one day, he posts a video that starts off by showing his iRating.
We had an amazing end to the season. We got to 3K iRating. Our safety rating is going up.
I checked my iRating and it was the exact same number. I've spent over 2 years driving the sim and grinding by myself, but it was around this time that I felt it would be pretty cool to be able to race alongside somebody who I can compare my driving to and learn from. So that day, I commented, "I hope we get in the same race one day." Little did I know this would be us a year and a half later, getting invited out to drive real-life race cars.
Oh no, it's in. No! Is it good? No, it's the engine.
Okay, I'm getting way too ahead of myself now, so let's go back to just 1 month after I commented on his video. He released another video showing off the new Discord server he made, and I figured I would join. From there, a small community started to form, which at the time was only around 30 members, and all of us getting together because of racing. We all started driving together, and this is where my driving took a really sharp turn towards exclusively driving the P Cup. I mean, just look at this.
Wow.
Grinding alone set me up with a very strong foundation, but the moment I joined a community full of people there to help each other, my iRating exploded. I had just hit 3,000 iRating the month prior, but near the end of this month, I was already well on my way to breaking into the 4,000s, and so was Aiden. This was the golden age of our driving, and for me, the most growth I've ever had altogether. By the end of the iRacing season, we had grinded so many races that we placed at the top of our division standings in the Porsche Cup Fixed and Open.
Keep it, boys. I am in fucking first place. Let's go! We won Division 2. We did have 117 starts, which was significantly more than anybody else, but you know what? A win is a win. Joey claimed P3, so congratulations to Joey.
Now that the season was over, we had time to focus on some extra activities. June 10th, we created an endurance team, and we set the sight of our first ever race to be the 12 Hours of Misano. We got a team together full of early members from the Discord, and we made a shitty looking livery and a shitty looking race day poster, and when the race finally rolled around, it kind of went to shit, but we didn't care because we got to experience our first ever endurance race together, and it was really fun.
Aiden, is Europe a continent or is it a country?
I don't. It's a continent. Hey yo.
Later down the line, this team would blossom into a bigger and bigger team that actually still exists today, just in a separate form. There's a lot of really good memories from driving on this team, and it generally brought a lot of people on it closer together.
Currently not working. Oh, why is he in my hand?
Oh. Whoa! Put me down, Trevor.
Throw him! Get rid of him!
Anyways, we continued to grind the Porsche Cup, and only a short 2-month hop from hitting 4,000 iRating, I hit 5,000 iRating for the first time ever.
Oh! Bro! 5K straight.
I know a lot of you that know who I am are going to roast me in the comments, but before you do, I'm going to beat you to it. Yes, I'm still hard stuck 5,000 iRating to this day, almost a year and a half later, but trust me, I have my reasons, okay? 2 months after hitting 5,000 iRating, our friend told us about a competition. If you win, you will get a full ride, all expenses paid opportunity to drive a real-life racing series. We honestly went out on a limb at the start of not knowing how far we would get, but we stuck it out all the way to the end, and we actually made it to the finals. All we had to do now was win the race, and our biggest dream would actually happen.
Well, ready to go for the first of 2 finals, Prodigy Racing League iRacing Mazda MX-5 Cup action. It'll build to the conclusion of what was a 7-week official race series with time attacks as well in collaboration with the Williams Gaming Club.
We are racing for this. That is the Prodigy Pass, the ticket to your racing future that will give you an all expenses paid trip to the US in 2025 to try out for your chance to, quite frankly, to not put too fine a point on it, to change your life forever.
Competing against some of literally the fastest drivers on the sim, we came closer than we expected, but just barely fell short.
I think William Rasmussen is trying the whole bump drafting. Oh dear, that's not bump drafting, that's a little bit unconventional to say the least. Good driving though from Joey to get the car very quickly back on track, and that's going to allow Cam Ebden to find a way past. Joey has to slow down because of the slowdown penalty, and that is a big penalisation for arguably something that wasn't really his doing.
Doing this competition did take up a lot of our time. I mean, for some of the weeks, we were doing thousands of laps just to get a quick enough time. And during that time, it honestly felt like torture. Driving the same lap over and over again, trying to squeeze thousandths of a second out of the car, but we never gave up. Looking back at this now, doing this competition was an important time in our driving. It was a transition period between just grinding in officials to opening up our minds to see what we're actually capable of when we put in enough time. We proved to ourselves we were able to be some of the best drivers, we just had to put our mind to it. Anyways, 2025 eventually rolls around, and to recover from Prodigy Me, Aiden, and a couple other friends all go to the real-life Daytona 24 together. The reason I'm mentioning this moment is because it's crazy to think about how people I've only ever met online and have only ever talked to on Discord are now flying out to my state to meet me in real life. And it's all thanks to sim racing. After getting back home, one day, me and Aiden were in a Discord call, and kind of out of nowhere, he asked me a question that I genuinely could never thank him enough for. He said,
"Do you want to start making videos on my YouTube channel?"
At the time, I knew little to nothing about editing videos and was kind of intimidated by the offer, but I could never turn something like that down. I accepted his offer and instantly shifted my focus to making my first video.
This is the car, this is the track, and this is a dog dragging his balls down the stairs.
This video is still on his channel, and I honestly don't recommend watching it because it is low-key embarrassing how bad I was at voiceovers. The voiceover took me literal days to record because it is just hard to talk to an audience that isn't even listening yet. It made me, and still sometimes does make me, want to perfect every word I'm saying in order for everyone watching to be able to understand. After my first video, I got a lot of support and continued to make videos, slowly getting better and improving my editing and voiceovers. Throughout basically the entire year of 2025, I was starting to shift my focus from strictly driving to leaning more towards making content. I would still drive iRacing, but definitely stopped grinding races like I used to because I wanted to improve my content creation. Okay, now we're getting to more modern times on the timeline. So skipping ahead to just this past November in 2025, big things started to happen. Aidan's channel has gotten enough recognition at this point to start catching people's eyes, and some of those people is the people at Kaizen Autosport. It's a racing team and racing school based out of VIR, and they invited Aidan to drive the racing school completely for free. Like real life race cars on a real life track, and he got invited to do this. I tagged along with him to help him record his videos for the school, and I was so lucky to be able to share this moment of connecting the sim world to real life. And I'm so lucky to be able to say that I got invited to go back to the school in April so I can drive the school myself. It's crazy to be saying that, and I can't thank Kaizen enough for doing this. Especially after meeting them in person, they're all amazing people and are doing really cool things to get involved in the sim world. But for now, that just about ends my story. It's nice to look back and see what brought me to where I am now within sim racing, but I think it's even better not knowing what lies ahead. I started sim racing purely because it was just a new fun thing for me to take up, and now it's become something bigger than I would have ever imagined. I'm super excited to see what the future holds, and I'm gonna be dragging all of you along with me.